To Sudan now, where fighting has intensified in the oil-rich Kordofan area, where thousands of people fleeing the city of el-Obeid. Now, experts say the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces, or the RSF, are focused on taking the key city, which is the capital of North Kordofan. The state connects the western Darfur region and Sudan's capital, Khartoum. The RSF has been battling the Sudanese army for control of the country for 2.5 years. Just 2 weeks ago, the RSF took the city of el-Fasher in Darfur, allegedly committing widespread atrocities, including mass executions and rapes. The United Nations says over 70,000 people have fled to neighboring Chad since then. Now, Chad has taken in over 1 million Sudanese refugees so far, with more expected as the violence continues. Refugee camps are full and facing the risk of famine and cholera outbreaks. Well, joining me now is Kelly Clements. She's the Deputy High Commissioner of the UN Refugee Agency, UNHCR. She joins me now from Geneva. It's good to have you with us. I understand that you've just returned from the Sudan-Chad border. Can you give us a sense of what you saw there and what people told you?
Yes, thanks for having us on the program. So I was there just a few days ago, the end of last week. And at that stage, I would describe it as really the calm before the storm. It is a part of the country that, of course, as you've just mentioned, has had a large number of Sudanese refugees over the last 2.5 years come into communities and into refugee settlements where refugees who, of course, fled Darfur 20 years ago have been staying because peace, of course, has not come to this part of Sudan. Now, what we heard from the refugees in Chad were a couple of things. First, I met with people that had left el-Fasher just a bit ago. And of course, they were reliving the trauma with friends and family, of course. Some have been able to escape. We have estimates of up to 90,000 people that have left el-Fasher in recent days, many going to Tawila, which is a town, a village, now a small city that has many displaced people trying to find the very basics. People are coming with absolutely nothing. They're coming deeply traumatized. They have wounds. There are obviously, you talked about health issues, concerns, but there are any number of humanitarian needs, including food, that is desperately needed. In Chad, well, the outflows into the country have been relatively modest. Of course, we're trying to ramp up. We're trying to bring materials and even more supplies into that area to help to reinforce those Chadian communities that have been so generous but have so little to be able to support the needs of very, very many.
You said that many people are reliving the traumas that they experienced. You know that there are reports of atrocities in el-Fasher since the RSF took this city. Can you tell us more about the situation there, at least what we know about the situation there?
Well, it's super difficult for us to give accurate descriptions because, of course, this is a city that was besieged for 500 days before it fell, and access has been almost non-existent. Very few humanitarian aid supplies have gone in the last year plus. And so what we rely on is what people tell us is they're going to places like Tawila or crossing the border into Chad. And the stories are horrific. You have incidents we see because the majority of refugees that are coming into Chad are women and children, about 87%, higher than the average. The majority of women and girls have been assaulted or subject to sexual violence. We hear upwards of 70%. And because the funds that support us and support other aid providers has been so dismal, it's been very, very difficult to provide the kind of support, medical, psychosocial, and otherwise, that these new arrivals desperately need, including those that we want to reach inside Darfur.
Chad, as you said, has taken in a lot of refugees. I think the number right now is, about 1 million Sudanese refugees and more arriving every day. And you also said there's budget cuts to deal with at the UN. So you put all of that together. I'm wondering, can Chad cope with this tidal wave of people coming into across its borders?
So I met with several of the ministries last week, and it is just astounding how they continue to talk about keeping their borders open to their brothers and sisters that need aid, need support, and are literally running for their lives. But this is a country that needs so much in terms of their own people's requirements. You know, basic infrastructure, water, health, an income, a way to be able to survive. And you see Sudanese coming who want to instantly start taking care of themselves as opposed to being taken care of. And so we're trying to support both the Chadian communities, but also refugees with self-resilience and self-reliance so that they can actually get back up on their own feet. But this is a part of, we have 1.5 million refugees in Chad in different parts of the country, fleeing wars from different neighbors over the last decades. And it is a country that continues to be a hospitable host to refugees, but they need much more support from the international community.
Last week, the Rapid Support Forces agreed to a U.S.-led humanitarian ceasefire proposal, but as far as we can tell, the fighting continues. Do you see any signs that the conflict could end anytime soon?
Well, you said at the top, let's not forget the Kordofans and what's happening in that part of Sudan, which is, of course, outside of Darfur, but importantly close. There is conflict in hotspots in various parts of the country. And obviously, the Sudanese people need nothing more than peace right now. 2.5 long years, a brutal battle that is taking many lives, many livelihoods, and will have deep scars for a long time to come. We hope for nothing more than a truce and a ceasefire. We want to be able to access as many people as we possibly can to get them life-saving aid. But right now, it is a very tense situation in the West, and it's something that in terms of aid actors wanting to be able to do much more, resources, of course, but importantly, access will be required.
I've got to ask you before we run out of time about the role of the United Arab Emirates, the UAE. It is investing billions in Chad. And at the same time, Sudan's government is accusing it of backing the RSF and of fueling this conflict. Are you concerned that this conflict could spill over and destabilize the greater region, in part possibly with money from the UAE?
We always worry in conflicts and wars about spillover. And, you see now with the refugee flows, people, if they don't feel safe in the countries where they are, in their own communities, they will move. They will move to safety. They will move to where they can find aid. That's happening now in Chad, in South Sudan, in Ethiopia, in Uganda, across the region. And there's always a concern about destabilization, about the spread of conflict, about bringing other countries into a civil war. And that is something we are constantly concerned about.
Kelly Clements, Deputy High Commissioner of the UN Refugee Agency, the UNHCR. Ms. Clements, we appreciate you taking the time to talk with us and helping explain to our viewers what is going on in that region of the world. Thank you.